Hey folks, it's Bob from Mountain Crest Farm. Y'all having a great day today? I hope so. I am down here in Georgia anyway. Uh, oh, some of y'all, that title might have got you. If so, I guess I wrote a good title. But I want to talk about something that title is not clickbait, because that is the subject of today's video. Now, this video has nothing to do with coronavirus. The subject matter my wife and I have talked about for a long time, and I've said for a long time what I'm fixing to say to y'all. The recent rush on everything in stores and the way people act in the stores with our recent crisis, that kind of brought it to the front and caused me to do this video. But this is something I've been thinking for a long time. And it's exactly what the title of this video says. Retail establishments need to have a designated jackass, and I volunteer. Now, what am I talking about? Well, I did a video a couple weeks ago about civility. And I was talking about civility in politics. But this is civility in life. I don't care. It seems like the big box stores. It seems like every time you get bigger, civility goes away. When you went and bought your shoes at the local shoe store, and you knew that the owner was George Smith that lived 3 blocks down, you went in there and you treated George pretty good. You said, "Hey, George," when you saw him, and he said, "Hey, Bob," when he saw you. And y'all treated each other good, and you treated his store good. It was a piece of property that he owned. Now, when you go to get shoes, I don't care if it's one of the big shoe places, like Shoe Show or something like that. It's a corporate thing. You don't know the owner. You probably don't know the people working there. The service is lousy. Boxes of shoes on the shelf. No little stool that you put your foot on and they measure your foot and they get the right shoe for you. All that's gone away. And you act less civil. And when you get even bigger, when you get to the level of, the Walmarts and the Home Depots and the Lowe's and the Targets, civility and customers acting decent has gone straight out the window. I don't care if you're talking about a store that has a blue vest, an orange vest, a different shade of blue vest, a red vest. Customers are jerks. I mean, customers are real jerks. And when you're another customer, you sort of see it, but you don't really see it. When you work there, that's when you really see it. In other videos, I've named where my wife works. I'm not going to in this video because I wouldn't want the store she works for, the company she works for in general, or the store in particular, to think this was directed at them, even though this isn't talking about anything that's the store's fault. This is just in general. Retail in general is what I'm aiming this at. I just know about it because of where my wife works. Now, I've known for a long time. People go in a store, a clothing store, let's say, and the roundabouts that they hang shirts on. People will go up and they'll pull a shirt off of the roundabout and they'll hold it up and they'll look at it and they'll hold it up and see if they can tell, looking at themselves, if it looks good on them. And when they decide it doesn't, I know, they'll lay it up on top. They won't put it back on the hanger and button the top button real neat and put it back in the slot where it's supposed to be. They just lay it up on top. I've known people did that for a long time before I ever met my wife. My wife is career retail, by the way. I've done that. But you know what people do? You know what my wife spends some of her time doing? They don't just lay it on top of the roundabout where it has to be hung up. Oh no. Oh no. Drop it on the floor. Kick it up under the roundabout where it doesn't show. Yeah, they do that. And people that work retail have to go in behind them and pick it up. Groceries. Have you ever been in one of these stores that has a grocery section and home goods and electronics, and you were over in the toy section and saw a hunk of meat laying on one of the shelves? Somebody did their grocery shopping, went over to get a toy for their grandkid for their birthday, and decided they didn't want that roast. Just set it up on a shelf. Now, in both of those cases, that's making your prices go up. That shirt that was thrown down on the floor, if it's dirty, Walmart doesn't have a laundry back in the back. Target doesn't have a laundry back in the back. No, that shirt gets thrown away. You've got the cost of the employee that has to deal with somebody being a slob. And you got the cost of the shirt that has to be paid for, because now they got to buy another one to replace it. So they buy 2 shirts and only get to sell 1. They got to add on to their prices for that. And that roast that's laying over there in the toy section because somebody decided they didn't want it, the store has no idea how long it's been laying there. Might have just been laying there for 2 or 3 minutes. It might have been in the meat counter 5 minutes ago, and it would be just fine to put it back in the meat counter. Or it might have been laying there for 2 hours. It might have been riding around in the person's shopping cart for 2 or 3 hours while they were taking their time shopping because they were bored and didn't have anything else to do. And then it got laid on the shelf and laid there for 2 more hours. They can't take that roast and go put it back in the meat counter. That roast gets thrown away. An employee of the store has to deal with it, and the store has to buy another one to replace it. Your prices just went up. My prices just went up. And then we talk about the kids. I don't know about you, but I don't go shopping anywhere just for the pleasure of listening to a bunch of screaming kids that parents won't control. And now, with the crisis that's going on, now we're not just talking about a bunch of noisy kids. We're talking about a bunch of noisy kids that may or may not be carrying around a disease and spreading it around. I'm 65 with emphysema. I would prefer not to get that virus. That's brought it to the front, but it's always bugged me. Parents don't control their kids. Now you got Susan and her 4 kids, and Susan's sister Betty with her 4 kids. So that's 2 adults and 8 kids. All of them go into the store so that they can go see if there's any toilet paper there yet. And the 2 adults go check the toilet paper while the 8 kids run rampant. Everybody else has to listen to it before you even talk about the virus. Everybody else has to listen to 8 screaming kids that their parents won't control. Now with the virus, I got a question. With social, what's it called? It's not social isolation. With social distancing, Susan should have a list to go in the store and do the grocery shopping. Betty should be sitting in the car with the 8 kids. One person should be in that store shopping. Instead, there's 10. 2 shopping and 8 running amok. This brings me to the topic of the video. Retail stores need to have a designated jackass. Now, this person couldn't be an employee of the store because all that would do would make the people that he contacts angry at the store for hiring such a rude person. They would say rude. I would say a person with no filters. Again, I volunteer. So it couldn't be an employee. I volunteer for free. I'll consider it a public service. One day a week, I go to whatever store. And my job is to walk around without the store's orange or red or blue or different shade of blue or whatever vest on. Totally unidentifiable as an employee, pushing a shopping cart around like I'm a shopper. And when I see that customer take that shirt off that hanger, look at it and drop it on the floor, go right over to them, tell them they're sorry, but to pick up that shirt, put it back on the hanger and hang it up, because all they're doing is causing work for somebody that raises the prices for me, and I don't appreciate it. And do it loudly. You know, shunning and shaming works. Well, I can't shun them, but I can sure shame them. When I see that person put that roast on the shelf over there in the toy section, same thing. Go over, pick up the roast, and put it back in their buggy. Tell them they got it. They've been walking around with it for 2 hours. They've ruined it where it can't be sold to somebody else. Get your butt to the checkout line and buy it. Oh, and when they bring it, when one person brings in 4 or 5 kids and then doesn't control them, I'll go tell them, hey, I didn't come here. I came here to buy groceries, or I came here to buy a shirt, or I came here to buy a toy for my grandchild. What I did not come here for was to listen to your kids running and screaming uncontrolled because you're a crappy parent. Loudly. Shunning and shaming works. And I think every retail establishment, every big box retail establishment, I don't care what color vest the employees wear, every one of those big retail establishments needs to hire somebody like me that has absolutely no filters whatsoever, except for foul language. I'd keep that down. Has no filters whatsoever, has absolutely no problem going up to somebody that does stuff like that and telling them off. Every retail store, every big box retail store needs a designated jackass. And like I said, I volunteer. Now, if y'all like the video, give me a thumbs up down there. And if you don't like the video, if you think I'm full of it, give me a thumbs down. Tell me what you don't like about it. Tell me I'm wrong, and tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why it's okay to take your kids in and let them run crazy in a store. Tell me why it's okay. Tell me why it's okay to drop that shirt on the floor, or put that roast on the shelf over in the toy section. Try to defend that. And if you agree with me, and you think the video's okay, and you think maybe some of the other videos might be interesting, hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom and ring that little bell so you get notifications. And in the meantime, y'all have an absolutely awesome, awesome week. Have an awesome month. Shoot, have an awesome year. All of those are easy. Just remember 2 things. Remember that the tomb was empty. And remember that because the tomb was empty, he is alive. Now, I will see you folks in the next video. That works for me. Does it work for you?